If you have ever thrown a handful of dried onion skins into the trash can, or poured the cloudy water from a pot of rinsed rice down the kitchen sink, you have unknowingly discarded some of the most potent, fast-acting plant medicine on the planet. Most of us have been conditioned to believe that when a tomato plant sags or its leaves turn the color of old paper, the only solution is a trip to the garden center for a plastic bag full of synthetic blue crystals. But university soil labs and traditional farming communities have known for generations that nearly 80% of all failing plants are simply starving for specific nutrients that are already sitting inside your kitchen cupboard right now. The average household tosses out more nitrogen, potassium, and protective organic compounds in a single week than a backyard garden bed or a high-yield greenhouse needs in a month. By breaking this cycle of waste, you can completely revive a dying garden, protect your crops from harsh weather, and save hundreds of dollars on commercial fertilizers without ever using a single harsh chemical. Before we dive deep into these hidden kitchen secrets, I want to invite you to join our growing community by subscribing to the channel so we can keep sharing these timeless, earth-friendly remedies together. We have backyard growers, balcony gardeners, and multi-acre homesteaders tuning in from every corner of the globe, and it is always incredibly inspiring to see where everyone is planting roots. Take a quick moment to drop your city, village, state, or country down in the comments below, because it truly helps me understand the different climates, soils, and microclimates our community is working with. Whether you are tending a few terracotta pots on a sunlit patio or managing an entire field of row crops, your presence here makes this global neighborhood a much richer place to learn and grow. Let us start with a remedy that changes the way you look at cooking prep, involving those dry, papery brown onion skins that usually end up at the very bottom of your compost bin or garbage pail. Most people assume the nutritional value of an onion is packed entirely inside the juicy white bulb, but the outer skins actually hold a massive concentration of potassium, calcium, magnesium, and iron. They are also loaded with quercetin, a powerful protective antioxidant that helps plants shield their leaves from intense summer sun, fight off fungal infections, and stabilize their internal chemistry during sudden heat waves or unexpected cold snaps. The common mistake is digging these dry skins straight into the dirt, which takes weeks to break down while your plant continues to suffer. Instead, you want to mimic the natural extraction of a tea bag by taking a large handful of dry onion peels, placing them in a clean glass quart jar, and filling it to the brim with cool tap water. Let it sit at room temperature for 24 to 48 hours until the liquid transforms into a rich, deep amber hue. This color tells you the minerals have fully dissolved into the water, making them instantly accessible to thirsty root systems. For home gardeners with yellowing tomatoes or peppers that refuse to set fruit, simply pour this undiluted amber elixir directly onto the damp earth at the base of your plants. If you are a small-scale farmer looking to treat a larger plot, gather a 5-gallon bucket of onion skins from a local restaurant or market, steep it for 2 days, strain it carefully through a fine mesh screen, and run it directly through your drip irrigation lines or a clean backpack sprayer. Apply this nourishing wash once every 2 weeks during the early morning hours, so the roots can drink deeply before the midday heat evaporates the liquid. You will notice the rich scent of earthy tea as the water sinks in, and within a few days, the stems will begin to thicken, and new leaves will push forward in a vibrant, glossy shade of deep green. But while onion skins feed the plant directly, this next household liquid does something far more important by feeding the billions of invisible, hard-working microbes living in the top inch of your soil. The cloudy, starchy water left over from rinsing uncooked rice is usually treated as waste, yet it is packed with complex starches, vital B vitamins, iron, and zinc. When you use this water fresh from the pot, it offers a very mild benefit, but the true magic happens when you let it ferment. If you pour that starchy rinse water into a clean jar, cover it loosely with a cloth, and let it sit on your kitchen counter for 3 to 5 days, it will develop a distinctly clean, faintly sour tang similar to a rising sourdough starter. That sour smell is the undeniable signature of a beneficial microbial bloom, signaling that wild yeasts and lactic acid bacteria have completely taken over the liquid. Underground, these microbes act as an elite support system, waking up the native soil microbiome, breaking down locked-up nutrients, and tripling the population of beneficial organisms around your crop roots within a single week. The critical rule here is dilution, as undiluted fermented rice water is far too acidic for tender root hairs. You must mix 1 part of this fermented concentrate with 10 parts of clean, resting water before application. Home growers can use a simple watering can to drench their raised beds or patio containers, while a market gardener or farmer can mix this brew in large plastic drums to distribute across an entire acre using a filter. This probiotic drench can be applied safely once a week throughout the entire growing season, ideally late in the afternoon just as the sun begins to set. As the liquid sinks into the earth, it gives off a wholesome yeasty aroma, transforming dead, compacted dirt into a thriving, spongy ecosystem that continuously manufactures food for your crops. Now, if you have a plant that is actively collapsing today, it simply does not have the luxury of waiting for the soil microbiome to rebuild itself over time. It needs a massive hit of easily digestible nitrogen before the sun goes down, which brings us to a remarkable method that turns forgotten, bruised, or overripe kitchen scraps into a lightning-fast liquid digestate. Every refrigerator seems to have a forgotten tomato softening at the bottom of the crisper, a head of wilted lettuce, or a soft, bruised cucumber pushed to the dark back corner of a shelf. These soft green kitchen items carry an incredibly low carbon-to-nitrogen ratio, meaning they are essentially pure nitrogen, wrapped in a very thin layer of plant fiber. To unlock this nitrogen instantly, chop your soft kitchen scraps into small pieces and pack them tightly into a 5-gallon plastic bucket until it is about half full. Cover the scraps completely with warm water, place a heavy ceramic plate or a clean brick on top to keep them submerged beneath the surface, and pop a tight lid over the bucket. Leave this mixture to ferment in a warm, shaded spot for a full 2 weeks. During this time, anaerobic bacteria will aggressively break the plant cells apart, releasing the locked-up nitrogen directly into the water through a natural process called mineralization. When you open that bucket, the finished liquid will be dark, cloudy, and intensely pungent, which is the ultimate proof that the nitrogen is fully active and ready to work. Because this digestate is incredibly potent, using it undiluted or spraying it directly onto leaves will completely scorch your crops and destroy delicate root hairs. You must dilute it at a strict ratio of 1 part scrap digestate to 30 parts fresh water. For backyard vegetable gardens, pour this diluted mixture directly onto the soil at the base of pale, struggling plants, keeping it strictly away from the foliage. For a larger agricultural operation, strain the pungent liquid through a fine cheesecloth to remove any remaining pulp, dilute it in a large water tractor or holding tank, and apply it directly to the root zones of your heavy-feeding crops. This treatment should be applied once every 3 to 4 weeks during the cool, early morning hours. Within 4 to 6 days, you will watch pale, yellowing leaves deepen by 2 full shades of green, and new, robust shoots will violently push out from the leaf axils, where nothing was growing before. Most collapsing plants, however, are rarely suffering from just a single deficiency. They are often missing a whole handful of essential minerals, all at the exact same time. For a true full-spectrum rescue, you can brew an incredible kitchen cocktail using 5 common household items that most families discard before breakfast even ends. This complete recipe blends banana peels for potassium to drive heavy flouring, finely crushed eggshells for calcium carbonate to eliminate blossom and rot, and used coffee grounds to add structural organic matter and a slow release of gentle nitrogen. There is a stubborn myth floating around that used coffee grounds will ruin your garden by making the soil highly acidic. But university testing has proven that while fresh grounds are acidic, used grounds are practically neutral, sitting beautifully between 6.5 and 6.8 on the pH scale. To supercharge this morning blend, you add 1 tablespoon of Epsom salt, which provides magnesium sulfate to instantly cure intraveinal chlorosis that frustrating pattern where leaves turn bright yellow while their veins stay dark green. The final, non-negotiable key is a single tablespoon of dark, bitter blackstrap molasses. Molasses acts as an explosive microbial dinner bell, causing the bacteria in the liquid to multiply by the millions within hours, so they can break down the tough banana peels and eggshells in just 3 days instead of 3 weeks. To prepare this ultimate tonic, place 3 chopped banana peels, the crushed shells of 4 eggs, a half cup of used coffee grounds, a tablespoon of Epsom salt, and a tablespoon of blackstrap molasses into a 1-gallon bucket of warm water. Stir the dark, sweet-smelling mixture thoroughly, cover it tightly, and let it steep for 3 to 5 days. Home gardeners can use this full-strength tonic once a month as a direct soil drench around heavy feeders like tomatoes, eggplants, and roses. Small farmers can scale this recipe up easily in 50-gallon barrels, using a simple sump pump to agitate the sweet, earthy brew before running it through their field application lines. Apply this rich cocktail in the late evening so the complex sugars and minerals can settle into the soil structure overnight without drying out. If you have access to a rural property or a nearby homestead, there is one final historic method that is older than commercial grocery stores and remains the undisputed heavyweight of plant resuscitation. Long before synthetic chemical plants began extracting nitrogen from the atmosphere, agricultural communities across the world relied entirely on the concept of the giant tea bag, or aged manure extract. While synthetic nitrogen feeds the plant while slowly starving the soil and destroying its underlying biology, manure tea delivers a balanced profile of nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, and trace minerals alongside a massive wave of living, beneficial biology. The absolute golden rule of this process is that you must never, under any circumstances, use fresh animal droppings, which are loaded with burning ammonia, raw pathogens, and active weed seeds. The manure must be completely aged and dried for at least 6 months to a year until it smells like clean, rain-washed earth. To create your giant tea bag, take 1 full shovel of aged chicken, cow, or rabbit manure and place it inside a porous fabric sack, such as an old cotton pillowcase, a burlap feed bag, or a mesh laundry bag. Tie the top securely with a piece of twine, and submerge the sack completely into a 5-gallon bucket of clean water, leaving it to steep for 3 to 5 days. Chicken manure tea will give you an incredibly high nitrogen growth stimulant. Cow manure offers a beautifully balanced tonic for long-term soil structure. And rabbit manure provides the gentlest, safest option for young, delicate seedlings. Once brewed, the liquid will be dark and potent, and you must dilute it down until it matches the pale, translucent color of weak iced tea, which is roughly a 10-to-1 ratio of fresh water to manure extract. Home growers can pour a single cup of this weak iced tea directly onto the root zone of their backyard crops once every 2 weeks. Small-scale farmers can hang multiple burlap bags of aged manure inside large water tanks or farm ponds, using the nutrient-dense water to irrigate entire rows of field crops. Always apply this ancient tonic during the cool hours of the early morning, or the very last hour before sunset, as the midday heat will cause the valuable nitrogen to evaporate into the air before the plant roots ever have a chance to pull it in. Learning to recognize that our daily household waste is actually a premium supply of free, clean, and highly effective plant food is the single biggest step you can take toward true gardening self-reliance. I want to say a profound thank you for spending this time with me today, and for choosing to keep this traditional, sustainable gardening knowledge alive and well in your own home. Please remember to hit that subscribe button before you head out, so you never miss our upcoming seasonal tips, and don't forget to share your location down in the comments section, so we can keep celebrating our incredible worldwide community of growers. It doesn't matter if you are watching us from a tiny apartment balcony 20 stories high or from the cabin of a tractor in the absolute center of a vast farming valley. Your dedication to working hand in hand with nature is what truly connects us all. Keep an eye out for our very next video, where we are going to pull back the curtain on a surprising, zero-cost kitchen ingredient that completely stops common garden